Hello, everyone. Have to get my chair. I forgot to put that out. Anyway, tonight I want to talk about a thing called resultants. It's actually rhythm 5, I think. Anyway, what is a resultant? All right. Uh, well, you know, people complain to me all the time about, Jeff, I can do that hand alone. I do that hand alone. I cannot get them together. I can't get that thing working with that. Um, yeah, the idea of practicing hands alone is actually very weak idea because rhythms are when a person goes to an orchestra concert or even a rock band or whatever, they're hearing one rhythm, but the band, the one guy in the band is playing this, another guy is playing, and they're different rhythms, but the sum of all of it comes at us um, as really one thing, particularly on the piano because it has um, the same sound throughout across the keyboard. Um, so the idea of practicing hands alone, it's okay if there's a right hand solo, of course, then it's alone is fine. So the idea of a resultant, it's kind of like if I had 15 cents in my pocket, a nickel and a dime, and I had 15 cents, and along the way I found two pennies, and then I found another dime, and now I have 27 cents in my pocket. If somebody looked into my pocket, they would say I have 27 cents. They wouldn't say, "Oh, you must have found two dimes." I mean, yeah, two dimes and two pennies and a nickel. They're not going to say that. They see the total, the sum total. So what's that got to do with the piano? Well, I'll show you. Every Christmas, I have kids play some of the Christmas songs and whatever. And one that jumps out at me right now that really needs the resultant concept is Silent Night. Now everybody knows Silent Night. I've got it up here, and it has a dotted quarter, one and two and three and one and two and three and. Okay, we know the tune. All the kids go, great. I can really play this easily because I know the way it goes. And I say to them, well, not really, because it's not going to sound exactly the way you know it goes because it's not going to have that rhythm. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I say, well, the left hand's going to accompany that with this. One, two, three, one, two, three. Then they go to put it together and they've got they got everything going. They're trying to think of that hand, this hand, that hand, that hand. So I tell them we got to break this down and make all of that one thing. So the way I do it is this. The count, of course, is one and two and three and for each bar. I can write that up here, or maybe I'll use a color that will jump off the page at us. One and two and, excuse me, two and three and, get rid of that little um, funny thing. Assuming you can see. Oh, I have the lights on awfully bright. You know what? Give me a second. Let me bring down these lights just a little bit. I forgot about that tonight. Uh, where are they? There it is. Okay. There we are. That's one of them. And the other one. You get too much glare. And I was almost late tonight. A little bit late. So we turn these down. I got these big Klieg lights. And then I've got this light. Hopefully that made it better. So anyway, so we take the count, and rather than count the count, I put in the hands that are playing here. On the first beat, we have both. On this beat, we have nothing. I'll just say nothing at that point when I'm counting. So rather than counting one and two and three, and I'm going to count both, left, right, both. See the little lines? Maybe you can't see them. There are little lines there. These are the beats we're playing on. We talked about rhythm last night. We're playing on one, we're playing on two, and we're playing on three. So we're playing one, two, and three. One, two, and three. One, 2, and 3. But instead of saying that, let's say both, left, right, both. Both, left, right, both. We'll tap it here for a minute. Both, left, right, both. Both, left, right, both. And if I play the notes on those, both, left, right, both, we have the rhythm we need there with the accompaniment playing with the melody. They're not separate. The resultant rhythm is bum, 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 bum. But pianistically, we have to play both hands on the first beat, the left hand, then the right hand, then both hands. With the rhythm, both, left, right, both. And this measure, I never wrote it in. I'll write it in now. Both, nothing, left, nothing, left, nothing. So, because the count is 1 and 2 and 3, and we're playing on just the 1, 2, and 3 with both on the left and the left. So it makes it a little bit easier to practice because we know what's going on. Without pedal, both, I might say nothing. Both, nothing, left, right, both, nothing, left, nothing, left, nothing. Helps us coordinate the rhythms that we have to play. Both, nothing, left, right, both, nothing, left, nothing. So it's a way to take what look like complicated rhythms and we reduce them to the resultant. Meaning the actual rhythm here, if we add everything together here, that's a resultant. A resultant is a sum. 5 plus 7 is 12. That's a resultant. I know this all sounds very funny. The guy that used that word was a teacher named Joseph Schillinger, who used the math system of doing things, and he used the word resultant to when you got 4 or 5 things, what's the sum? What does it add up to? Well, here on the first beat, we have a note, and we don't have anything on the second beat, so we have a quarter. We have 2 eighths because we have a left and a right next to each other. And then we have a quarter, both 2 quarters together. Then we have a quarter and a quarter and a quarter. Now, if we take our accent values into consideration, we have a loud one here and a loud one here. So the resultant rhythm of our piano arrangement here, a twinkle is just, I'm sorry, not twinkle. Silent Night is just, which is fine on its own. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 but when you put them together, him with him, you can't think of 2 things at one time. So we think of this resultant, and we write the hand. In this case, we can write the hands in. So the rhythm we end up with is bum, 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 bum. And when we put the hands in, both, left, right, both, left, both, nothing, left, right, both, nothing, left, nothing. And you can coordinate much easier. This happens to be a pretty good example of that. Now, let's talk about the granddaddy of them all. We have a thing called 2 against 3 or 3 against 2. You can say it either way. Where they very often will write a thing like this. Play the triplet with the right hand and play the regular notes with the left hand, or 2 against 3, what they call 2 against 3. 3 beats in the right hand. During one beat, we're going to play 3. That's easy enough, right? And then with the other hand, we're going to play the regular quarters. Sorry. Okay. Then they tell you, that's easy also. That's not too hard. But then they tell you, play them together. Play 3 in the right hand, play 2 in the left hand. So And it sounds like this, by the way. My left hand is playing 2 at the same time that my right hand is playing 3. And it's like, how can you keep that one in the mind and the other one in your mind and the whole thing going together here? Well, actually, it's not too hard if you think of resultants. What do we actually have here? What are we hearing? If it was just one rhythm that we had to tap out with one hand, the way we could have with Silent Night, we're going to end up with a rhythm that looks kind of like this. I'm going to take a little liberty here, but I'm going to show you what the deal is. Okay, this is the resultant rhythm, more or less, of what's going on here. And the big notes are depending on whether that's the norm in the piece or that's the norm in the piece. So we'll look at both. But this is the resulting rhythm of these two rhythms being added together like numbers. We end up with this rhythm that most of you probably, if you had to tap it out, if you know note values and rhythms, I'll get real simple some night and we'll talk about how we do that. Well, last night we talked about that door knock and the what was the other one? Happy birthday. And we found out what rhythm was, and this is just a rhythm. How would a guy, if he sees this, how would he approach it? Well, it would be 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2. The loudness of these two depends on what this is. But let's say the main line right now is the half note. I'm sorry, the 2 quarter notes. That's the norm. All right. So we would have 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's make it the triplet just for now so I can write this. Okay? All right, but there's our count. And so the rhythm is 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and easy enough. Easy enough. But we got to play 3 in the right and 2 in the left. Well, here's the deal with that. The right hand is going to be played, both hands are going to be played here. So I'll write a big B. On this one, it's only going to be the right hand. On here, it's going to be the left hand. And on here, it's going to be the right hand again. Do you see it lining up? Left hand, right hand. So if I play this rhythm with the hands delineated the way I've said, and let's say we put our left hand on a C, and let's say we put our right hand on an E, and I play that rhythm, bum, patatum, with both right, left, right, both right, left, right. I'm playing 2 against 3, but I'm fooling myself into it. If you look at the right hand, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, very even 3. And the left hand, both left, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You can hear both those lines going. But we're not thinking of trying to play 3 here and 2 here. We're playing that rhythm. That's called a resultant. And every part of a piece of piano music where the left and right hand, it can be in one hand. You might have to do that in one hand. So we'll think of it as the right half of the hand and the left half of the hand, like this. That would be the right hand playing alone and playing, I used the wrong kind of pen. Oh, well, that is a problem I run into quite often. Well, let's write right over it with green. Here we go. This would be the third and first finger playing together. This would be the third finger. This would be the first finger, and this would be the third finger. And so what we would do is we would play both 1, 3, 3, 1, 3. If you play it fast, you can hear the 2 on the thumb and the 3 on the third finger. Now, most people consider that very hard to do. It's not. You're playing a rhythm, the resultant rhythm. Now, before I said, what if it was these two that were the norm? Well, then we would have to play it more where you have both. Well, actually, make it the bottom note. Yeah. you play that thumb louder, where the 2 is the norm. If the 3 is the norm and you play those the norm, you play those a little louder. Where this thumb is not the rhythm we're basically in. But it's called a resultant. And if you remember, oh well, yeah, I'd like to write it in black, I guess. It's called a resultant. At least that's what I call it with the kids. But you could use the word rhythmic sum. And you can create different rhythms by writing a rhythm. And I still have a mess from last night here. Yeah, we do. Articulation. Oh yeah, I remember that one. Let me see if I have another chart here. I believe I do. Yeah, it's pretty clean. Okay. If you take something and you say, I'm going to play, what am I writing notes for? I don't want to write notes. I want to write just numbers, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and something like that. Hang on. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And you're getting used to me writing the 1 bigger than the ands and all of that stuff. Just get used to it. If we wrote something like this, if we wrote both hands on 1, and then the left hand on 2 and the right hand on and the left hand on 3 and the right hand on 4, that would create a rhythm. We would have really no syncopation here at all, but the count would be 1 and 2. And let's just play maybe again a couple of notes. We'll take the same 2 notes we had. Both and 2 and 3 and 4 and both and 2 and 3 and 4 and so bum. Now in the piece, that could be very confusing the way it's written on the page. Might have different notes. Yeah. Bum, bum, bum. Sorry. Both, left, right. This is trickier than I thought. I would need the notes up here, so just go with the rhythm for right now. Both and 2 and 3 and 4 and both and 2 and 3 and 4 and maybe tomorrow night I'll write something that does that. But whenever you're having trouble with something and you got something up here and something down here, find out the empty beats are very important. That they should be identified like right away when you have an empty beat. I have missing all my pens here. The empty beats here, of course, are the and, all these ands, that one, that one, that one. Those are your empty beats. That's where stuff doesn't happen. But very often you see a rhythm written, and then the right hand, they got a dotted quarter tied to a half, and the stuff's not lining up, and you can't tell where the beats are. You really can hardly see them. So to write a resultant in, the one thing I left out here that I shouldn't have is the empty ones. Both left, right, both left, right, both left, right. The 2 big ones here are him and him. So again, maybe tomorrow night I'll find more examples of this. This is a very, very handy thing as a tool when you're having trouble playing something where the beats, I have to find you some examples. I can find a lot of them where you can't tell exactly where the notes line up. Sometimes they print in the book, they'll print like a dotted note like this. They put a quarter here. You can't, is that lined up or is it not lined up? So the first thing to do is you work out the count in the measure, and then you replace the count with this type of a convention. And it just helps you do the rhythm right with the hands. Remember, the rhythm matters. All the pedaling and all of the articulation, that can be taken care of later. But tomorrow night, I will dig up a few examples to build on this concept, and I can show you examples where things get really confusing, particularly when they start writing notes like this, and then they've got a rest here, and then they've got a quarter note here and an eighth rest and an eighth note, and you don't know quite where you are on the count. You can't see it. So you write in the count 1 and 2 and 3 and and then you replace it with, in this case, it looks like right and left. Right and so it's right, nothing, left, nothing, nothing, left. So that it can get really confusing that way when you see it this way. But when you then write this out and just apply those hands to those beats, all of a sudden you get the idea. They start to learn what it feels like, and you get the right sound. So anyway, I will back that up tomorrow night, and I'm a little bit on my limit here of 20 minutes, as I've always said. So when words fail, music speaks.